Okay, so this is another relationship video, and I wanted to make it about guys that are dicks to their girlfriends, but when you try to like dump them or, be like, what the hell, you always treat me like crap, they're like, I'm so sorry, please don't break up with me, I love you, blah. Okay, so I actually went through this situation when I was about 17, so at the time, like, I feel like I'm two totally different people because I used to be like a crazy bitch, like one of those dumb bitches. And now I feel like one day I had this epiphany and like everything came so clear to me and like I realized like, oh, that's not the way guys think. They think like this. And when instead of yelling at guys and trying to change them and make them be like I wanted them, when I just realized the way that they thought, everything became so much clearer and it like it's makes more sense the way they think than we do. There are so many guys that I know, that unmarried men too, that will be like, oh, my wife's such a bitch, she's this, she's that, like, oh, I can't stand it, she's so crazy, blah blah blah. But they never actually go home and break up with them. You know what I mean? They just love to complain. And I hate to say it, but some guys just are lazy. They like the convenience of having a woman that does everything for him and like cooks and cleans and, I hate to say it, but is there for sex, and they are in a routine and it's convenient. And I don't want to say all guys are like this, but a lot of guys can just get in the habit where they're just like, eh. I think guys, once they're in a relationship, are a lot more likely to settle. And that may seem like a weird thing to say, but I have this theory, and I've had it with me and my girlfriend used to like come up with all these theories when we were in high school. And one of them is that girls fall in love very quickly, but they also fall out of love very quickly. So girls want to get into these like serious relationships super quickly, but once they're in them, and the guys like in the relationship, they often kind of will get bored, or they'll be the ones to be like, this guy's being annoying. And oftentimes you'll see a girl being the one to break up with a guy in a long-term relationship. And then, so in the reverse is that guys take a very long time to fall in love and to be like, okay, I'm willing to like have you as my girlfriend and settle down with you. And also it takes them a very long time to fall out of love. So they tend to be, once they've established, this is my girlfriend, we're together, I'm in it for the long haul, they tend to be very, their roots are planted and they're willing to overlook annoying things about their girlfriend or settle in a relationship that they're not 100% happy in. So this is just a trend that I've seen in a lot of relationships. So with that said, oftentimes in your day-to-day life, you'll be fighting, or things won't be going good. And a lot of times, and I'm not going to say every guy does this, every girl does that, absolutely not, because I think girls cheat like often just as much as guys cheat. But I do often see that a girl will be the one to, if there's a problem in a relationship, a girl will often be the one to, and I use the terms girls and boys because men and women don't tend to have these. If you're an actual strong man, like, this isn't the way you behave, but when you're young and immature, this is the way that you behave. And not necessarily young, when you're just immature, because you can be like 55 and be immature. And let's say a day-to-day you're like fighting all the time and like things aren't going well, a girl will be much more apt to go to the guy and say, I'm not happy, let's work this, like, let's talk about this, let's see what we can do. And the guy often will be the one to be like, oh, I don't want to get into this big talk, this big confrontation. They see it as, women see the talk as a way to work things out, while men see it as a terrifying conversation that they don't want to have. Like, for some reason, men are just like, anything but talking, I hate it. So oftentimes men will look outside of the, and again, women do this too, but oftentimes immature boys will look outside of a relationship and maybe cheat or do something else or talk to girls or start texting girls. Instead of actually fixing anything in the relationship, they just go out and get what they're not getting from another woman so that they are satisfied. Because basically they're like, okay, I have these 10 needs that need to be met. My wife or girlfriend's only fulfilling 5 of them. Instead of getting a new wife or girlfriend, I can just go out and cheat or have a girlfriend on the side and get those other 5 criterias met. Again, not all guys are like this, for the record. There are great guys out there, i.e. my dad's a good guy, my boyfriend's a good guy, his dad's a good guy. There are great guys out there. a really good barometer of how to tell how a guy will treat you or what his philosophy on life is the way that he thinks and talks about his mom. So if he's like, oh, my mom, you know, is awesome, I would do anything for my mom, I would do this, I would do that. That's a really good barometer. Just so in general, the attitude that they have about their mom. If they're like, oh, my mom's such a bitch, she's always complaining, she's this, she's that, she's psycho. Unless the mom really just happens to be psycho, that's a warning flag, bad sign. Again, there's always an exception to the rule. So you might be sitting here being like, okay, fuck, like I've been dating this guy for 3 years, we fight all the time, and every time I try to break up with him, he's like, no, no, babe, I'm sorry, I'll change this, that, whatever. And you're like, oh my gosh, like why does he wouldn't fight for me if he didn't want to stay with me? Why does he fight for me when I try and break up with him if he wants to stay with me? And I think that it's a lot of times there's this instinctive reaction by a guy that, and by people in general, that when someone tries to break up with you, even if things are bad and you're both not happy, you don't want to give up. You don't want to lose. You don't want to be rejected. And especially with men, they're like a dog with a bone or a dog with a ball. And they don't really care about the ball or the bone unless you try and take it away from them. And once you say, even if they haven't touched that bone in a week, if you try to take it away from them, they're like, hey, that's my bone. What do you think you're doing? And so I think that can be part of the problem. So don't just assume that because you attempt to break up with the guy and he begs you in the moment to stay with you, that he actually cares, intends to change, or really truly loves you. Because I know from my experience that I used to break up with my high school boyfriend all the time, and I didn't really know for a fact, but I assumed that he did cheat on me all the time. And he would beg me. He would say, I'll change, I'll do this, da da da. And like, he never ever changed. He always just got worse. It just got worse because he realized I can do whatever the fuck I want. And as long as I cry for a half an hour and beg her, she'll put up with it. I can go out, I can party, I can hit on other girls, I can hang with my boys, I can get fucking drunk, I can like do whatever I want, and all I have to do is cry and she'll take me back. And another thing is so think about that. Like from their point of view, that's often what they're thinking. You're thinking, well, why would he beg me if he didn't want me? And they're thinking that's all I have to do is beg her. She's such an idiot. She'll just keep taking me back. So think about it. This is what I mean. If you start thinking about things from the way that they think about it, then you might understand that they're not really these malicious, horrible guys. They genuinely feel from their point of view that they think, well, why would she keep getting back together with me unless she, like, if she really didn't want me to cheat and do all this stuff, she wouldn't keep getting back together with me. She keeps getting back together with me, so she must be really okay with it. You know what I mean? Like, when you think about it from a different point of view, they're thinking, well, why would she do this? You're thinking, well, why would he beg me? And he's thinking, well, why would she keep taking me back? Like, use your brain. Hello? Also, that happens behind closed doors. So, like, in front of his boys, like, he's all like, oh, she's such a psycho bitch. Like, I can do whatever I want. I can go out. I can, like, do this. I can do that. I can party. Well, whatever they're doing. Whatever it is they want to do. Whether it's, like, play video games or cheat on you with prostitutes. They're walking around saying, I keep doing it, she keeps putting up with it, and like everyone's laughing at you. And then behind closed doors, he's like, oh baby, I'm so sorry, this, that, whatever. But no one sees that but you. And that's another thing, girls always are like, well, with me, he's so this, he's so that, blah, blah, blah. But it's not just the way he's with you. It's not just about the way he is when he's alone with you. It's the way that's the definition of how he really feels about you, is how he talks about you when he's not with you. I know, like, I'm sure we all know these guys that are like, when their girlfriends aren't even around, they're like, oh I love my girlfriend, she's so beautiful, she's this, she's that. And I made a choice a long time ago that I would never be with a guy. My criteria was the Jim Halpert from The Office. I'm like, I want a guy to love me as much as Jim Halpert loves Pam on The Office. And like their seasons have kind of got weird and like their relationship's falling apart a bit. But in the original like 6 or 7 seasons, she didn't have to be the most beautiful, skinny, funniest, perfect, the hottest, sexiest chick. She just had to be herself. And he was not afraid to scream it from the rooftops how much he loved her from the bottom of his heart. And if your boyfriend only tells you that he loves you from the bottom of his heart when you're alone and he never tells anyone else in the world, then you should think about that. Because if a guy was dating, I don't know, who's super hot, like Katy Perry, or like someone slightly less whorish, I don't know, who's like an awesome, cool girl. The people I'm thinking of are not people that you guys would probably like. But like if okay, for example, like Heidi Klum, like if a guy was dating Heidi Klum, he'd be like posting pictures of them on his like on Facebook and like be like, oh, me and Heidi tonight, we're doing this, we're doing that. He'd be bragging about it. And you want a guy to be like, think that you're his Heidi Klum. So that's the other thing. Why are you sitting here and you're making excuses for him and you're letting him decide? Well, why would he like, you're saying, well, I'll try and break up with him, but as long as he begs me to stay with him, I will. Why are you letting him decide? Why don't you raise your standards and say, no, I'm not going to put up with this because you're an idiot and I can do so much better. And even if I can't do better, like, I don't know why girls have got it in their brain that like being with a guy is going to just solve all your problems. But even if you can't do better, let's say like you can, number one. Because if you are a better person and you evolve, which everyone has the potential to evolve and every day become a better person, whatever that means to you, whether it's a religious thing or a spiritual thing or a physical thing or a combination of spiritual, mental, physical, you can constantly evolve every aspect of your being every single day. So as you evolve, you can do better because each day you become better, you deserve better. So with that in mind, you can do better, absolutely. But let's pretend for a second you can't. Let's say that Joe Schmo over there treating you like shit is the best you can do. Just don't be with anybody then. Like, if you have to go there, if you have to think of the worst case scenario and I'll be single for the rest of my life, go get a vibrator and be single. At least you'll be healthy. At least you won't be up all night wondering if you're being cheated on. At least your bills won't be late. At least, you know, you won't have a guy running around. You won't be arguing. You won't be, you know, constantly having an up and down roller coaster. At least you'll be happy. You know what I mean? So I don't know why girls want boyfriends so bad. Like, even I have an amazing boyfriend and I love him so much. But if he all of a sudden started going crazy and started being a different person, I would not continue to be with him. If he started going out all night and like cheating on me and acting like an idiot, I would talk to him about it and I'd be like, what the hell is going on? Why are you completely changed? But, you know, after one or two conversations and you've expressed how you feel, there's no excuse for like certain behavior. And cheating and hitting are just two, I'm getting slightly off topic, but like that's a barometer right there. Cheating and hitting, if you are cheated on or you are hit, you need to leave. The end. Period. End of sentence. So bottom line is, I guess this conversation's kind of got off track. But I just want to leave you with the fact that it's not about what he's doing and whether or not he begs you to stay with him or not. It's about you knowing who you are and deciding these are my standards and not accepting anything below them. And stop waiting for him to decide what's going to happen with you guys. Make your own decision.